to interact with you for you to come on board. So immediately they start asking you for your, education background is one thing. They start asking for your IC number and what your parents do, what your spouse do. Is that all necessary at that point of time? I would say no, you don't need all those information at the initial interaction. Okay, of course, there is also a concern of a lot of application processes when they start asking this on the forms itself. PDPA clauses are not there, so that's a legal issue there altogether. All right. Okay, thanks, Jessica. The slides, okay, the ads are coming on. Okay, I'll just try to send that. All right. So, as I said, so make that as seamless as possible, okay, and make it easy, make it mobile friendly, and even when you go to website, don't have too many next. As I said, at the initial stage when an application needs to come in, you don't need so many information about the candidate. It is only as you move on into the second or third stage, or when an offer is sealed, then you need all the family information and what's not and everything. Okay, so I do hope organizations make that as simple as possible, because I see a lot still have a long way of things of it. So interviewing tools and processes, again, now that we are all doing things virtually, it would be very useful when you do that. I'm sure a lot of organizations have gone into Zoom interviews, and you do, some organizations have even gone into doing virtual assessments. Yeah? Virtual assessments, they've gone into gamification and everything. As SMEs, I think maybe for SMEs, you have not really gone into that. Maybe it may take a little time. But again, video interviews and everything can be very useful now. Why I'm saying that is because talent is everywhere. So when you go virtually and you engage into video interviews, and you do not need, like I said, it's again perception. You may have a right talent somewhere in Malacca, okay? And this person may not necessarily need to be in KL, but he's the right talent or she's the right talent. You can always bring on board. So it's a broad range. You have an access to broad range of talents. So next is, of course, having an effective onboarding program. So what happens is, a lot of organizations, somebody new is coming to your office, you don't even know who is coming on board. You know, suddenly you see some new faces there. There's no announcement. This person is not felt welcome. He's just pushed to one corner. There is no a buddy system or a mentor system assigned to this person. So it's part of, employee experience. So what happens is, on board itself, rasa dah tak betul already. Tak ada orang nak jaga I. The person is so lost. Don't know where to go and everything. He or she needs to jump onto the sea himself, to find out everything. Again, it's experience. So that goes a long way as compared to a company A and company B, where you go to company B, first day you go itself on the table, there are some nice gift packs around, somebody makes you feel welcome. First 2-3 days, somebody takes you out for lunch, makes you familiarize with everything, with the processes, with the handbooks, with the SOPs. All that is part of experience, okay? Right, I think I've been talking for the last 20 minutes or so. Can we have some sharing here, right? Who do we have here? Okay, we have Liu on board. Liu, you can unmute yourself and maybe share your thoughts. Is talent management so important for staffing, and how did it work in this post-pandemic? Yes, as I said, talent management is very important. Why I say, I would repeat again, as I said, yes, we do see high rates of unemployment there. But what is talent management all about? It's bringing on the right talent, matching the right talent to the right job you have. So again, this is where, okay, your mic is not functioning. That's okay. I hope I'm answering your question, Leo. So matching the right talent to the right job is important. Of course, I always say at this current situation where we are in, we have abundance of talent out there and everything. the recruiters also need to be mindful that there is no such thing as perfect candidate. Okay, you need to see where you can bring, where you hire for attitude. Certain jobs, yes, I understand it's very niche. You need technical expertise. So when it comes experience and expertise, and then it matches attitude, bullseye, you have the right person there. But what happens is most of the time that does not actually happen. So you need to see for jobs which you can actually bring on talent where they can have transferable experience or transferable skills to that job, you know, and then you see whether this person has the right attitude to carry out the job or not. That of course goes along with a lot of behavioral assessment, competency assessment and everything. But as I said, do not look for ideal candidate at this point of time where you're trying to fill up positions, especially if it is an urgent position. Okay, right. So as I said, the next is like physical environment, whether when the person comes aboard, you assign mentors, whether you have the right table. You know, I've seen certain organizations, I myself have experienced, first day you go, you join there, table also not done, stationery not done, everything not there, computer is not set properly. So what kind of experience does this give? It doesn't give a feel good moments. As I said, employee experience is all about creating the feel good moments. So it is only when you have the right employee experience, positive employee experience, you can have your employees engaged. So engagement, as we know, as I said, it's not rocket science. Engagement relates into productivity. Productivity relates into profitability. So the equation here is quite simple, but as I said, it's still baffling and it's puzzling why many people are not getting it. Is it because it's mindset, you know, or there's plenty of job out there? I don't care. If you need the job, you come on board. Yes, you can have that. The person can come on board, but whether you can retain this person or not, that's the thing, you know. So as I said, continuous feedback need to be there every time. Okay, now that you're all working from home, uh, a regular check-in on your employees is good. When I say check-in, it is not intruding into the privacy of the employee, or it's not micromanaging. Don't get that mixed up. Checking in basically means that, okay, are you okay with everything? You know, do you have the right tools to work? Do you need any level of support? So communicate, communicate, communicate. This is very important. I always say this in all the sessions. Training for those HR managers who are on board today. I'm not sure how many of you are in HR. So especially at this point of time where you do not have full access to your employees in office, engaging with your line managers or supervisors is very, very important. Training them to be mentors, counselors, and coaches. Now, this middle person, the line managers, are the bridges between the management, the HR, and your employees. So this is the person you need to really take care. I'm not saying you shouldn't be taking care of your other employees, but you need to train. Gone were the days line managers or supervisors should be saying that this is HR's job, it's not my job. It's not like that. They are the ones who are having immediate engagement with the employees. So you need to actually train them. They need to be mindful of how to take care of the emotions of your employees. So this is how you reinvent. So what we know, we clearly know there's always a saying, people don't leave the organizations, they leave the managers, they leave the bosses, right? So this is where sometimes you can have all the excellent perks there. You can have all the excellent policies there. You can have a good culture there. But if you have an employee who does not have the right immediate superior, again, the person leaves. And this person, this particular employee can be a very good employee you're losing. So it's important to actually train the line managers. I always say that, which I'll be speaking more next week. I'm having a session for HR, for non-HR managers, to actually make them understand the importance of their role in developing the employees. Okay, so employee surveys. Now that's another thing when I say about employee surveys, the X factor. What are the things? A lot of companies, they do employee surveys. Yes, they do for the sake of doing, and sometimes even the questions may not be so relevant. And again, employees also will have the reservation. Okay, if I answer macam ni, macam mana nanti performance appraiser I kena mark pula, all this kind of thing. So be genuine when you're carrying out employee surveys. You have to take criticism. If it's a constructive criticism, you've got to take it. So the areas where you can put and think about the major areas, okay, when you're doing your employee surveys could be, if you want to measure, one would be the important thing would be questions relating to the emotions of the employees. Okay. The other one is absorption. When I talk about absorption, it measures how engaged or how involved the employees are with their work, right? So that will uncover the part of how enthusiastic they are. So your survey questions need to be around that thing. You need to actually plot questions to understand how enthusiastic they are about their work, dedication, how commitment they are, culture, the support system, how do they feel about the company culture, and of course, the orientation to the customer. So why is, going back to the earlier question, why do I say EX is important is because more often than not, measuring customer experience is a little bit difficult because it is an external factor. All right. So that is whereas your employee experience is an internal factor. So when your employee experience is good and you feel, and there are more customer coming in, so that will actually tell you that you have a positive customer experience. So that's the whole thing. Okay. So performance review, as I said, have meaningful performance review. Break it into chunks, your KPIs, your goals now and everything. Break it into smaller chunks of maybe 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, rather than having the 1 year and half yearly. It is too long. Trust me, especially with the new generation, we can see those of you who have teenage children and everything, they continuously want feedback. They continuously want recognition. Okay. So again, I say it is not micromanaging. It's two different things. Giving continuous feedback as to how they are doing in terms of their work. Uh, as I said, acknowledge and appreciate. Acknowledgement and appreciation in the current times may not necessarily be in the form of course, financially, a lot of businesses are being impacted. So you got to rethink of non-financial perks. How do you actually support your employees in terms of, or recognize them in terms of providing them non-financial terms. Team building activities, it's limited at the moment. Yes, I know, because of social distancing, but there are a lot of online team building activities are going on, virtual activities are going on. So this is where I say again, HR on its own may find it difficult to get all your employees involved. Some people when it's virtual, they say, alamak, kalau pergi virtual, nak tengok apa, nak dengar apa, cameras are off, everything unmuted, so where is your engagement? So this is where, again, I say the role of line managers are, but you need to have the right line managers or supervisors to advocate and, to advocate and pass it on to your other employees. Now, exit interviews, when you come to the final process of employee experience. So what happens is most companies exit interviews, okay, come, do, fill up form, pop, it goes into your into the staff personal file, and that's it, forgotten. I'm not sure how many of you guys here where your organization take exit interviews seriously. Exit interviews are actually a very, very powerful tool, okay, for you to actually measure your employee experience as well as your employee engagement. It is not just a piece of paper. I know there was one organization I worked, and the boss told me, he said, no, exit interview not done and everything. We don't release the salary at the final salary and everything. So bear in mind, exit interview is not a compulsory thing. It's not a mandatory thing. It's a nice to have thing. It's good to encourage your employees who are leaving to be as open as possible and frank as possible. Because otherwise, if you're going to sweep everything under the carpet, you're not going to find any improvement there. Okay, so that's the final part. So bigger organizations and everything, they do have alumni where they engage with their ex-employees back. Why engaging with ex-employees is back is you never know when these people expertise is needed back into your organization. So it's good to still engage with them and everything. So some of the ways of how you actually measure your employee experience, of course, as I said, you conduct employee surveys. You ask your workforce and to weigh what are the most important elements at the workplace and all. The other way is, of course, look at the workplace data. See, so what happens is, you see, surveys is based on emotions. Okay, you send out to your employees, whatever they answer is based on their feelings and emotion. It may not be an accurate interpretation of the actual situation, right? But data will not lie. So this is where it's important. If you don't have a platform, if you have not invested into digital platforms or whatever, it's time that you discard whatever papers you have and get into a proper data-oriented platform in order for you to churn out figures, which can come from the point of you attracting until the point of exit. So that will actually tell you, when you translate that into numbers, where are you actually falling short. It can be at the point of onboarding. Now, HR could have had your SLA where within how many number of days you need to recruit this particular position. But when it comes to onboarding, there is a slack there because the line manager is not being supportive enough. So there is an issue there. So this is where you can segmentize your segmentize where you actually fall short. Like there was once, I think I went to for an interview because some time back, you know. So being, of course, in a high position and everything, reporting to someone high, I think I was asked to wait for almost an hour plus. So again, you see, the HR was great in trying to bring me on board, engaging with me and bringing me for the interview. But what happened is when you reach there, the person was not ready to interview you. A lot of people, when they go, hiring managers, when they go into the interview, only then they're beginning to look at the CV itself. They are not prepared with the right question. So here, where do you fall short? You know, then comes to performance review. So if you have the right data, you can pin down where your problem is. So there are a lot of tools for that. Workday is a very good tool. I'm sure a lot of companies that you have your own tools, I think. So maximize and leverage on these tools to actually generate your data to see where you're actually falling short. So that will actually pin down to what you need to do for your employee experience, you know, for you to increase your employee experience. And of course, look at other companies. Don't be like, you know, that horse which puts the blindfold and you don't look at other companies and everything. Look around and see what other companies are doing. Glassdoor is a very good platform for you to see. When you go there, you can see, you know, a lot of us, even nowadays, what happens is when a candidate wants to apply for a job, the first thing they go and look into is Glassdoor. You know, how well it is, how's the culture and everything. The moment you don't have a good review there, they're already skeptical about applying to the jobs there. Okay, so needs have changes, wants have changes now. People's way of thinking have changes, candidates' way of thinking have changes, employees' ways of thinking have changed and everything. So this is where I say you need to actually actually reinvent the thing, right? Okay, Izu, employer cannot hold back. Correct, Izu, that's what I was saying, okay? Employer cannot hold salary if not attending exit interview. It is not a mandatory thing, okay? It's just a best practice, true, okay? But as I said, there are organizations, there are hiring managers, or even sometimes top management, senior management people who do not understand the modus operandi of all these things, who do not understand the practices of all these things. They don't understand what is mandatory by the law and what are best practices. So this is where HR needs to actually play your part, because when they are not clear about this, it affects your employee experience and employee engagement, right? As I said again, people don't leave organizations. Organizations can be great, but people leave because you don't have the right people you're working with most of the time. I'm sure most of you would agree that. How does a company create positive employee experience? Any good ways to suggest? Okay, Liu. Right. How positive? As I said, you need to keep regular check-ins. When I say regular check-ins, that's why I say there is a fine line between micromanaging and regular check-ins. Okay, micromanaging is calling every hour and say, hey, have you been doing this? Have you been doing that? But regular check-ins is a different thing. Okay, it can be as simple as bringing your team on board for a morning coffee, like what we're having now, Sembang Santai. Of course, I'm the only one talking, but with your own team, I think it would be good if you can bring everybody on board, or even just a one-to-one session. It may not necessarily be all about work. It can be as simple as how you're doing today, how you're coping. Do you need any help with that? Do you need perhaps one way of bringing on positive employee experience at this point of time, especially maybe for ladies, for working mothers and everything who are at home, who are juggling between responsibilities, giving a little bit flexibility in the timing, perhaps that could create an employee experience, a good, a positive experience, because employee will feel I'm appreciated, at the same time I'm being understood, so that's important. Managing your employees' emotions and health, mental health now is very important at this point of time. It's a very stressful time, not just for businesses, individuals as well. So going a little bit easy, of course, I'm not talking about free passes here. There's no free passes for anyone, but going and having, maintaining flexibility, being agile is important at this point of time. Okay, right. So I think I've been talking and speaking a lot. Let's hear some of you here, what you have got to share and everything. Okay, we have Jessica is here. Let's see. Can you all just on your camera and have your pretty faces on so that we can talk a bit? We have Azwan here, Arina. Okay, we have Pua, I think. Can you all just on your camera so that we can share? We've got another about 10, 15 minutes or so we can share on this platform as to how you are doing, and maybe we can start talking, how to better things. Hi, Jessica. Oh,
Hi.
you're off again. Hi. All right. Okay. Would you want to share anything, Jessica, as how you all do things at your organization and everything? How do you actually bring about, is there anything different? What's the different thing you're doing now? What are the different things you're doing now?
In fact, nothing much different from what you were sharing with us just now.
Yeah.
But I always believe people come first in any business and any organizations. Okay. However, not all companies have the same thought, right? So HR, especially during this COVID time, we really put out a lot of initiative. We are not only talking to the employees, also talking to the employers, right? And sometimes we even fight, we understand the employers' point of view. They want business to go on and they want people to be safe. Yet, if you have a company with foreign workers, they may have little understanding on the risk of the COVID. So we do a lot of additional tasks, to be honest. When we understand in the last year, when we started, before we start MCO, we already started to blast all the email, when we understand Wuhan coronavirus that time, right? We already we invest in the mask, glove, And all these things, we do it without government request. We do it in advance
Okay.
because I
Mm.
and my team, so we understand if any one of our people have problem, it's equivalent to HR problem, right? So sometimes employer
Yeah, correct.
not
I mean, we are people's people, right? All right.
yeah, correct, right.
Okay.
That's why that it's important for
Yeah.
to take lead on a lot of things, and we
Yes.
also put a TV and to tell them to wash their hand, to keep social distancing. This kind of slide, there's a lot of things we are doing. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
I
that's a good thing actually. What Jessica is sharing, especially when you have foreign workers around, it's like they may not actually understand whatever policies which are actually written in Bahasa and English. You may need to perhaps translate that to their own language. So you may need a translator for that to make it. So this is where communication comes in. It's part of communicating the right thing, right? Yeah, so
yes,
I know it's a little bit challenging for those in the manufacturing line with foreign
yes,
workers
very
around.
much.
Yeah,
Mhm.
especially
We are
creating
very
the.
lucky. I think with the
Mm,
control and everything, we have zero case in the past 1 year, zero
mm,
case. Just imagine we have
okay, that's
300
great.
people. Yeah.
That's actually great. It's really great. I think what you're doing there is also really great, actually. But I
Mhm.
think most of the time the challenges what HR face as compared to managing your employees is about managing your employer, right?
Yeah.
To get the buy-in idea from employer when you want to do something, when you want to do an initiative. So as I said, yes, I understand. I've been there, when I've been in the corporate world and thing. Uh, Getting the buy-in idea is always the challenging part, because when you go with a proposal to do something, they'll end up, no, this is not necessary, no need to spend money now and everything. It's all about spending money, right? HR, we need to always go with some money
Yes, we
there.
have to learn to
So
put cost effectively on this thing. Yeah.
yeah. So I would suggest that one way of getting the buy-in idea is, you see, at the end of it, bosses, they want to see figures. They want to see what's your return on this, right? So you need to go with the figures, right? If you're going to be investing on a platform for you want to digitalize things, okay, you want to be investing it, yes, there is a cost involved to do that, but again, you need to do your ROI. How is this going to be how it's going to generate later, what is the impact of it, so if you want to ramp up your talent acquisition and initiatives, right, how is the impact towards this? So you need to convert this back to numbers, dollars and cents, to show them, in order, like if you say, okay, I need to send this group of people for training, you know so I've been in organizations in manufacturing and SMEs and everything, especially, you go to the boss, when it's family business, it could be big family business. I say, no. I said, my company is not training ground for people. I want people to come here and work. I'm paying salary. I'm not here to, send people to school to study. Some old thought people would say that. So what's important is, in this kind of thing, is you need to reconvert that into dollar and cent. Look here, if these people, you go for training, what is the dollar and sign which comes back to this? You need to actually justify that to them in that manner. Only then you will get the buy-in idea. Of course, those the current ones who are more open to things, who understand, where people equals to your customer service and all that, and it's a different thing. But you have people who are a little bit more conservative in their thinking, then this is the way you need to go about to approach things. Okay, right. We have got another couple of things. I see Pua here. Pua, would you like to share something? Priscilla is here. Thanks, Jessica, for sharing.
Pleasure.
Right. Another, I think we have another 5 minutes. Oh, Arina says her camera is broken. Sorry about that, Arina. Hope you get to fix it soon. Okay. Anyone would like to come and share your session? Son, as I said, this is Sembang Santai. Yeah? It's not all about just me talking and everything. You come on, share. It's a platform for you to share and see what other people are doing. As I said just now, when you're talking about employee experience and what initiatives to do and everything, look out to what other companies are doing. It may not necessarily, be, how shall I say, one size doesn't fit all. That you got to remember in whatever employee experience initiatives you're doing, that one size, it doesn't mean it works in another company, it needs to work. You've got to look into your own culture. Again, when you're doing these initiatives, it doesn't mean it suits this group of employees, it will suit another group of employees. My needs may be different to your needs. So this is where I always advocate at this point of time, HR needs to be very flexible system, your recognition system, and how you're doing things and everything. All right, with that, I think I would conclude that, as I said, it's a pretty easy equation. A good and positive employee experience will eventually translate to better retention rates, better quality, better productivity, and that ultimately will relate to positive customer experience and profitability. So it is the customer experience and profitability part. You've got to advocate that, and you tie it up to your initiatives and show your management, whatever initiatives you want to do, show it to your management. Continuously give feedback to your employees, train your line managers. They are very, very important people at this point of time. Okay. So with that, I think we have come to the end of session. All in 2 weeks' time with another topic, which you all will see that soon. Excel will be blasting it out to you all. And of course, I have my upcoming next week. I think it's 24th or 25th. I have the HR for non-HR managers program, where I'll be talking about what is HR's role and what is the line manager's role in supporting HR, because they are no longer just line managers. They are actually also your business partners, your HR business partners. They should be, they need to wear that cap on. We'll go on, and I'll go on to speak about how performance reviews and engaging into meaningful performance review need to be done. And of course, I'll be touching on the Employment and Industrial Act, recent changes to it, and how line managers need to be informed of all this. And next month, I will be having, in March, I will be having a class on business English at workplace, where we'll talk about interacting in business in English, where we find, like, you know, a lot of places now, English is always used all upon, and a lot of people are struggling with it. So I'll be talking about that. And in April, I'll be having a session on managing employee relations, employer-employee relations via the Employment Act and Industrial Act, which is very specific, but that can be, anyone can come on board. It can be HR personnel as well as non-HR personnel. And following that, in May, I will be having a program for executive assistants, personal assistants and secretaries, as to how they need to manage the whole workforce and how they need to interact during this time, because everything has changed now, how they need to actually add value to the organization. I'll be having that session in May. And in June, I'll be having, this is a very close to topic, a topic which is very close to my heart, harnessing social and cultural intelligence at work. So these are my programs which are coming up for the next couple of months. And those of you who are interested in any of this program, please keep in touch with Excel Academy, and they'll have the details with you. So with that, thank you very much, everybody, for coming on board today. Yeah, it's got an overwhelming response. We have about 20 over people today, and I hope to see more of you. And I hope to hear more of your voices in the next 2 weeks when I come over and see your pretty and handsome faces as well. So with that, thank you very much. And I'll pass it on to Norman now, because I think Norman would have some things to actually share now. Okay? See you all in 2 weeks' time. Bye. Have a nice day.